Hey guys. Alright. I am going to attach a new tapered leader. Sorry. I'm going to attach my tapered leader to my rod. I've kind of got to the point to where my tapered leader is a little too short now. I think instead of it being like a 10 foot, I think it's like a 4 foot. So when that happens, guess what? Got to put a new one on. So for those that are Googling how to put a tapered leader on, or what a tapered leader is, hopefully you find this and watch it. So, putting my fly rod together, I was fishing down the way a little bit, so I had snagged a tree fish, so I had to cut that one off. Alright, so what we're going to do is I'm just going to cut off my old tapered leader. And you guys know what, like one of those Chinese tortured, what are they called? Chinese finger torture things where you stick your fingers in. When you pull them apart, you can't pull them apart. Well, that's what that kind of is the mesh part is one of those Chinese things. And when you stick your monofilament line is, and mine's floating, and you stick it in, and stick it all the way in, you can see where it's at right there. And when you try and pull and pull and pull, it doesn't come off. And then I took and put that reinforcement on there, took a lighter and warmed it up so it melted it kind of to that. So it streamlined everything for me there. That sounds kind of in a weird place. Oh well. You get the idea. It's more about hearing than seeing my face. I don't care if you see my face. So your tapered leader comes kind of wrapped around, and you see that there's a point to where you start to unwrap it. What I mean by wrapped is it's wrapped this way on here. When you start to unwrap it, and all of a sudden it comes completely apart. I always suggest that you take it, put it between your fingers, and fully unwrap it so you don't get a knot in it. That's how I avoid knots. Now, take your two. You got a hook, you got a loop, and you got a loop. See? It's pretty simple. They've made it really simple for you. So you take and you put the loop in the loop. Okay? And this is all to make it so that your line is more streamlined. You want it to float with as little knots as possible in it, because the knot's going to make it heavier, and the heavier is going to make it sink, because I'm doing top water. But even if you were doing bottom water or nymphing, it's still the same kind of concept, is that you want it to be streamlined and you don't want it to have any snags or anything like that in the line. So then it looks exactly like that when you're finished. See how it kind of just came together? And that's perfect. I go back down, and you know what? I might as well, I'll do what I do with my tippet, okay? And I'm going to show you. So I'm at the very end now. And then I take my tippet that I have coming out, the bottom of my bag. Okay. So let me show you the two. Okay. See how there's two? And this is my tippet. So I'm going to take my tippet. It's 5X tippet, and I'm going to make it just a little bit longer than my tapered leader. And then I'm going to tie 2 overhand knots. Or I should say an overhand knot. But the overhand knot has a couple extra loops that go around. So I go around 3 times, okay? Very important that you wet your knot, pull it tight, okay? Now, I take the smaller one, which should be, my tapered leader, because I don't want to cut very much off my tapered leader every time. There we go. So there is my first dropper, and that's where my fly is going to go. That's where my first fly, my first dry fly is going to go, on that little piece right there on the very end. So if you want to keep watching, you can keep watching. If you want to go to another channel, I'm now going to install, this is a stimulator pattern, and oh good, so I can't see very well. I have to get out my specific glasses to focus that, basically magnify it so that I can see that I'm tying that and that I'm tying it correctly. Heaven forbid me tie a fly on and tie just like a standard overhand knot and lose it on the first fish that comes up and bites. So I am up in Montana, and I am just outside of Saint Regis, heading north. Remember, wet your knots. Try not to bite them with my teeth because it's not good for our teeth. Clip it off. There's our first. And then I'm going to take about 2 feet. Man, there's a lot of flies right here. One less fly. I just killed it. All right. Got me a little box of flies right here, and I'm going to find a nice big caddis. Something that has some, yep, yellow caddis right here. Yeah, I stick everything in my mouth like that. I know, one of these days. And actually I have hooked my lip before. Gave myself my own piercing. It's all good though. Why am I recording myself doing this? You know what? I've just found the urge lately to do that, and I don't know why. Maybe it means something. Maybe somebody's gonna find it interesting. Maybe my kids will find it interesting. Maybe I'm gonna die soon. And if it's the case, that's alright. I don't mind. Because guess what? I'm ready to see God. I'm not perfect. But I don't have a worry. Well, I got worries. I mean, everybody's got worries, but you know, if I saw God, give him a big hug, ask him what he needs me to do, because I'm ready to do his work and his will if I'm dead, because now I'm in his presence and there's work to be done. I think someone said that one time, that they saw one of the prophets when he was, this is after he had already died, the prophet had already died. Someone on the earth, another prophet, was trying to speak to him, and he said, I don't have time. Make it quick, because I've got a lot to do. I always wonder what that lot to do is. What is it that we are going to be doing in heaven to prepare for those that are still here on earth waiting to come to heaven with us. All right, so that's just float is what I'm putting on there. We'll see if that does the trick. So let's see. I'm just over 10 minutes of doing that. That's not bad. I've got my 2 flies ready. I'm gonna get it all up here so you can see. Try to at least. Got to be all wrapped around. Alright, I gotta figure out why I'm all wrapped up now. This is the fun part of fishing, is trying to figure out how to undo all these knots that we get, and we have no idea how we got them. It's like they tie themselves. Just kidding, they don't, but it seems that way. All right, there we go. Dropper number 1, 45-degree angle coming off of there, about 2 feet for fly number 2. And that's how I rig my fly rods. All right, guys, I'm gonna show you a fish when I catch them.